Welcome to the podcast, folks. We're diving into that epic paiN versus Spirit clash at IEM Chengdu 2025. The details here are mind-blowing, from map bans and picks to player stats that really tell the story.
Yeah, exactly. It's a match where Spirit completely dominated with a 2-0 victory over paiN, right?
Yep, absolutely. Right, so to set the stage, we had a best-of-3 series in Group A's upper bracket quarterfinal. The banning phase was intense. Spirit removed Inferno while paiN took out Train, then Spirit went with Ancient and paiN countered with Nuke. Basically, Dust 2 was left over, and that set the tone.
It's like the teams were trying to force each other into their comfort zones. But ultimately, Spirit's picks really set the pace.
Exactly. And Spirit, their decision to steer the map pool towards Ancient and Nuke really highlights their game plan. I mean, when you look at the numbers, Spirit pulled off 13 kills on Nuke, while paiN managed just 11.
Yeah, and speaking of which, the way players like Ivan Gogin shined in those moments was insane, right?
Absolutely indeed. I mean, Zwei was on fire. Over 36 kills on one map, and even upgraded his rating by more than 4.29%. And then there's Donk from Spirit, who, let's be honest, delivered the kind of performance that changed the dynamics of the match.
Right. Donk's numbers were off the charts, especially that 9-9 round with high impact stats. But look though, some might argue that paiN was unlucky. Any thoughts on that?
Well, it's like paiN had their share of moments, but Spirit's strategy just outpaced them. Spirit not only set up the maps to their advantage, but also had consistent performance from all players. Even in cases where paiN had good individual scores, the overall package just missed the mark.
Yeah. And if we dig into the detailed statistics, you've got these in-depth KAST ratings and ADR figures that really highlight the margin. It's like Spirit managed 1.46 on Zweich and his ADR was through the roof. Meanwhile, paiN's responses from players like Biguzera and NQZ just couldn't keep up.
Exactly. It's almost like Spirit's players were playing chess while paiN was playing checkers. And then there's the community commentary. Man, the HLTV chat was buzzing with opinions. Some said, Donk will kill paiN, and others critiqued paiN's selections heavily.
Right, and I remember one comment saying that paiN might be a 50-50 chance if they played any event. But then, when the match starts, reality just hits hard.
Yeah, exactly. And another interesting angle was on map performance. On Nuke, for instance, paiN fell behind after a promising start. They were up 8-4 on T side, but then got overrun. It's like their initial pistol rounds, which are so critical on maps like Nuke, weren't enough to hold momentum.
And there's that whole point about strategy adjustments. I mean, Spirit's preset on Nuke and Ancient, they've shown it consistently in previous matches too, so it almost seems like paiN just wasn't prepped for that level.
Right? And then you've got the VOD highlights and post-match stats. Look at how many technical pauses and tactical decisions came into play. Spirit's command on the map ban phase really streamlined their play, unlike paiN, who seemed caught between trying to adapt and sticking to outdated picks.
Yeah, it reminds me of how sometimes teams overthink their bans, and then you end up with like an unbalanced map pool. I mean, Spirit's removal of Mirage and Overpass left paiN with fewer options.
Totally. And then when it came to round-by-round performance, Spirit's players had these clutch moments, like that one versus 2 clutch by DGT on paiN. That moment basically underlined the match's narrative. One key play can really shift the momentum.
Absolutely. And we also saw a lot of heated commentary online. There were even some critiques where one pundit argued that Spirit's players, like Donk and TN1R, are now stepping into a higher impact role compared to the previous roster. Do you think that's a fair assessment?
Well, there's definitely a solid argument there. Spirit's roster shakeups have definitely led to a more dynamic play style, which is reflected in the stats. I mean, TN1R's performance was like a noticeable upgrade. Their ratings overall were much more consistent compared to before.
Yeah, right. True, although I'd also push back a bit on that notion. Sometimes a roster change can simply mask underlying strategy issues, And while the individual numbers soared, the teamwork on some rounds wasn't always the best.
That's a fair point, but looking at the team stats overall, Spirit's cohesive KAST percentages and controlled ADR across multiple maps do suggest that the new dynamics are working better. It's like they're learning, adapting together.
Mm-hmm. And the community seemed split. Some people were calling out paiN for being dog shit in clutch situations, while others said that Spirit's picks are just perfectly tailored. There was a lot of talk about match impact on VRS points too, right?
Yes, exactly. The VRS impact was huge. paiN dropped from 1,788 points to a lower bracket rank while Spirit vaulted up the standings. And then you have all these comments on social media, like someone noting Donk real X fake Donk, and another saying Donk will humble Brazil. It shows just how passionate the community is regarding these matchups.
Right. And watching the live reactions versus then the VOD highlights, it's a roller coaster. I mean, you see the stats, you see the in-game plays, and then you see the real-time chat blowing up with everything from Donk is a myth to Spirit is the new top.
Exactly. And don't forget, in the end, Spirit's performance on maps like Ancient and Nuke wasn't just luck. It was a perfect storm of strategic bans, sharp individual plays, and offensive pushes that kept paiN on the back foot from the start. It's like watching a well-oiled machine working through all the complexities of competitive CSGO.
Absolutely, it's almost poetic, but then again, there were some commentary moments that were a bit harsh on paiN. Some critics even threw around phrases like they play like bots in mid-round. I feel like that's a bit unfair given the circumstances.
True, it's definitely harsh. However, the numbers back that up in many cases. paiN's clutches and reaction times just didn't match up, especially against a team structured as tightly as Spirit.
Yes.
And we can't ignore the fact that paiN's previous matches, like against Fnatic and Astralis, showed more promise. But then, as always, when you're up against a top-tier team like Spirit, every little misstep is amplified.
Exactly. And speaking of amplification, did you catch the detailed player comparisons? I mean, seeing stats like ADR and KAST percentages for both teams makes it clear that Spirit's players were operating on an entirely different level in this match.
Yep, it's like their offensive pressure was seamless. Take Yvonne Zwei, for example. His consistency on both maps, the way he maintained over 90 ADR, really set the tone. And then players like Dimitri Esh1 had that cool-headed AWP play that left paiN scrambling for answers.
And that goes to show how, despite all the roster changes and external criticisms, Spirit is evolving. But I wonder if paiN can bounce back. They've had a rocky few weeks, right?
Well, paiN did have some solid performances in earlier face-offs. They weren't completely out of the picture. It's just that in this match, Spirit seemed to have found that extra gear. And yes, let's not forget the community trending stats and the VOD segments that showcased some pivotal rounds. Those moments where paiN just couldn't capitalize on their opportunities.
I think the takeaway here is that Spirit's change in lineup and map strategies has truly paid off. But then again, it's also a huge reminder for paiN about the importance of adapting strategies mid-tournament.
Exactly. It's a balancing act. Spirit's game plan, from the map bans, picking Ancient and Nuke, to individual star performances, painted a clear picture of a team in control, and the community reaction, ranging from well-received praise to harsh critique, only adds to the intense atmosphere of competitive CSGO these days.
It's an ever-evolving landscape. And for spectators, this match was like a live case study in strategy, execution, and pure competitive spirit. Almost like a tactical chess match, where every move counts.
Absolutely. And these kinds of matches remind us why esports is so captivating. Every detail, from map picks to individual exploits, tells a story. In this case, the story was clearly a strong Spirit performance, meticulous planning, and those unforgettable clutch moments that make each match a highlight reel of its own.
Right on. And as we wrap up this session, it's fascinating to see how these detailed stats, the KD ratios, the adjusted ratings, and even the community's hot takes become part of the narrative that fans keep discussing long after the match. It really begs the question, what will paiN do next to evolve their gameplay strategy?
Indeed, that's the heart of competitive esports, constant evolution. Spirit shows us a glimpse of how perfect synergy and tactical precision can tilt the scales. Meanwhile, paiN has the challenge of learning from these oversights to come back stronger. Thanks for tuning in as we unpacked every intricate detail of this encounter. Until next time, keep the passion alive.